は皆さん。I'm Great Oka Unite Empire。今日は試合があった。そして彼がエンパイアの応援してくれるってよ。みんな、ブローケンテーブルポッドキャストよろしく。
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Broken Tables podcast. I am your host, Jeffrey Vegas, here as always with our reigning, defending Broken Prediction champion, Rome. How you doing tonight, sir?
Well, I know we're going to talk about AEW and Dynamite in the episode of Dynamite tonight, but obviously there was a loss in the wrestling community today, a couple hours before Dynamite went live. Terry Funk has passed away, as you saw with our beautiful 10-bell salute. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about Terry Funk before we kind of really get started with our Dynamite review. A celebration, if you would, of a man that you can't tell the story of professional wrestling without mention. This guy's career spanned decades. The amount of places that this guy wrestled, you know, probably hundreds of thousands of indies, territories, the NWA, WWE, WCW, ECW, Ring of Honor. This guy was everywhere. This guy had so much influence. So I wanted to kind of elaborate on what I mean when I say you can't tell the story of pro wrestling without Terry Funk. So these are all of the places and the time frames. Not all the places, but these are time frames of where Terry Funk wrestled over the course of his career. He was in the territories in North America during the territory days. He spent the 70s and early 80s in All Japan. He went back to WWF during its expansion period. He was in the NWA during their 1989 run, WCW during its 1994 run. Went back to Japan, did work with IWA, FMW. He was there in ECW for peak ECW years. And then he returned to the Attitude Era WWF, ending in 2000 WCW, and with 1 million independents and appearances along the way, including Ring of Honor, like I said. For perspective to see what this guy did. So this guy, here's some notable feuds that he had and where he was. This man feuded with Hogan in 85, Flair in 89, McFoley in ECW, Onita in FMW, Punk in Ring of Honor. He feuded with DX during the Attitude Era. Lawler in Memphis, Satoshi Kojima and Hiroshi Hase in Wrestle 1, Bret Hart in 97, Pillman and Bruce Hart in Calgary. Just so much stuff that this guy did in his career. And for me personally, obviously, always forever grateful for what he did in the original ECW. Not the, well, yeah, it's the original, you know what I mean. In ECW, the real ECW. Obviously, as a Philly guy, I take a lot of pride in ECW and the promotion that it was and all the things that it did for the pro wrestling industry. And Terry Funk was a guy that went in there when there was a lot of no names at the time in ECW, and he really added credibility to that locker room. You know, like you look at those ECW guys, and like sure now for wrestling fans, a lot of them are now well-known names, but back then they weren't. And so for Terry to go in there and you know, go up against guys like Raven and Mick Foley and et cetera, et cetera. Like that added a lot of credence to ECW, and the dude was just made for ECW as well. You know, like I posted some promos in the Discord today of things he said when he was in ECW, and honestly, it got me. Um, so I would just kind of also like to kind of close on this with, you know, Terry Funk was just always in tune with wrestling. He just always seemed to get it. And not to make this about AEW, but I'm going to mention this was a quote that Terry Funk gave when AEW first started. He said, "They're going to do something special. Vince and WWE, they're not fresh," said Funk. Yes, Vince does big business. They have the best talent in the world, but they have no fresh idea. AEW, they're going to do something special." Terry was right. And it just really sucks that he wasn't able to see that come to fruition a couple days from now. So, my hat's off to Terry Funk. Appreciate it.
That's a great point that he's not gonna be there to see Wembley. I didn't think about that. Man. Well, R.I.P. Terry Funk. Let's go ahead and get into the reason we are here tonight, the AEW Dynamite review. Excuse me. Dynamite came from, I believe, Duluth, Georgia tonight, Atlanta, if you will. Awesome crowd here tonight. Absolutely loved this crowd tonight. I thought they did a great job. They got really, really loud in some of the segments here tonight. And we started right off with the Elite versus Bullet Club Gold. And, right off the bat, I'm pretty sure we started with the Elite here so that they could avoid CM Punk later. Would you agree with that?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? It was the first thing that popped into my head. I was like, oh, okay, now they can get out of here and Punk can show up in an hour and we're good, right?
We already know they've been talking. So, no,
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case.
Okay. But dude, this match was freaking not even a match actually, but it was still like a Young Bucks match. We got to see all the usual spots and everything like that. I did not expect it to go the way that it did here. Juice Robinson basically just KOs Rick Knox before the match even gets started. So we did not get a match. We just got a huge dust up between the Elite and the Bullet Club Gold. Kenny Omega gets attacked by Jay White and Takeshita. FTR come out for the save. And Kenny was this close to hitting Takeshita with a one-winged angel. I loved every moment of this. I kind of wished that we got a match, but I still really, really, really liked this segment.
So I absolutely love this. I think that they just did a fantastic job here with building so many different things leading into All In. Honestly, I'm okay that they actually didn't let this go into a full-blown match. They had a lot of things that they needed to do on TV tonight. And it just, for me, obviously you don't want to see them not do the match. And Tony Khan's usually very good with, when he announces a match, that match happens. There's usually not a lot of shenanigans, which is why I think you saw the Young Bucks do their spots. You know what I mean? That's why it seemed like it was a match, because in the storyline it was not a match, it was thrown out, but they want to give you that action, so you got that.
Yeah.
Which I think is the right way to do it. I thought it would have been kind of lame if they didn't do anything. They just kind of punched each other for 2 minutes before it all got broken up. But so yeah, I thought this was really great. I think there's a lot going on in this segment, and it's maximizing your minutes. You got so many things. You have obviously the lead into the Golden Elite versus Bullet Club Gold. You got the FTR versus the Bucks are in on this. The Takeshita versus Omega storyline is still at play here. There's just so much going on, but in a great way. I thought this was a great setup for All In. And again, yeah, the thing about EW we've talked about this in the past. It's been a while since I think I've said this, but it's all about maximizing. It's like, if you, especially with Rampage, I think that's what I used to say it about. I used to say it about Rampage all the time. It's like, make the most out of the hour that you have, and they definitely did that. So I really liked it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, this was great. Loved every moment of this. Fantastic way to open up the show. I loved every minute of that. Next up, we had MJF backstage with Renee Paquette doing a sit down interview. They basically talk about All In and 80 plus thousand people are going to be there. And MJF says he is basically the 2023 British Bulldog. I thought that was a really funny line there. This was a
Yeah,
great
he.
segment with
Sorry, go
MJF
ahead.
here.
Yeah. So I love MJF. He's like, British people love me. He
Yeah.
says, I'm like the British Bulldog if he was Jewish and a good public speaker.
Yeah.
He goes on to say he's like the second coming of Winston Churchill. And he says, I'll buy everyone a pint at All In. And Renee's like, really? He's like, no, I'm going to get that Mark Tony Khan to pay for it. Can we edit that
Yeah,
out?
we can edit that
Yeah.
out, right? I was
Yeah, we'll edit
dying
that
at
out.
that part.
But then MJF takes a more serious turn. He says, it's the most pressure in my life. It's the biggest show ever. This doesn't happen without all the people who paved the way for me, standing on the shoulders of giants. And he goes to name a bunch of WWE legends,
Yeah.
specifically WWE legends.
I was like, Roman
Um,
Shambles.
no, I mean, I think that's just him continuing kind of 2024, I'm out. That's what I took that as. And then he says, Adam Cole is my first real friend. He's my brother. And MJF says, that's not a shoot. Or that's not a work. That's real. MJF admits that he's awful. But now he's decided to be vulnerable, and he asks the fans to be vulnerable with him on this journey. He says, you'll be rewarded. And that's the first promise I intend to. And I thought this promo was really good, and I'm going to kind of tie it in with the Adam Cole promo once we do the Adam Cole promo. But I think that this is just a really fascinating, kind of the continuation of this fascinating character that is Maxwell Jacob Friedman. And just the levels and the layers that you can see here. And honestly, again, yeah, like the fact that they've added to MJF's, I guess, lore, you could say, or character, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Like, this storyline with Adam Cole has really added so much to him that, I mean, it's excellent. It's phenomenal. Look, Jeff, I should have said this during the first segment, so I'm going to say it now about the first segment and this segment. If you're sitting here watching this Dynamite go home, right, and you're like, I don't know, man, I don't know if All In is, I don't know if I'm all in on All In. If you're sitting here and you're watching this and you're watching the multi-leveled, multi-layered character that is MJF and the brawl that took place before this for the other matches, if you don't get it, put it up.
Oh, it's up.
Yeah, look at that. I feel like you might need to hold on to that sign, Jeff. We're gonna be using that a little bit. It's
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
get smiling.
it's big and bold, so
Oh, I can't wait to see it. There it is. There it is, right there.
yeah, I mean,
Anyways,
I
no,
can
sorry, go ahead.
understand the one point that I've seen people make, and they're like,
Mm.
there's not enough singles matches. And I only see 3 of them, but we got 10 matches, 3 of them are singles. I'm fine with that ratio, you know what I mean?
So my counter argument to this, and it's kind of like a part A, part B counter argument, is part A. This is the biggest wrestling show of all time, and if you want to put the asterisk next to it, I don't give a fuck. I really don't.
And no, hold on. I got to add a 4th match to that because the women's match, even though it's a 4-way dance, that's still a singles match.
Correct. Regardless, though, this is the biggest this is the biggest show in the history of pro wrestling where people didn't have a gun pointed at their head saying, "Go to this fucking show." So my opinion is you get as many people on this card as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Like that's All In. Because part B of my argument is next week is All Out. That's the show where you go and you can do your normal thing where you set up these awesome singles matches. I guarantee you we're going to look at this All Out card like this time next week. Or I guess there'll probably be some really late minute. We're probably going to see Collision, like matches added on Collision the night before, which is crazy, but that's just what it is. But yeah, you're going to see a bunch of singles matches next week at All Out. This pay-per-view, like this is meant to be a 1-2 punch, and like obviously it's hard to justify buying 2 pay-per-views. And I'm not going to
Yeah.
sit here and fully defend it because I also think it's kind of ridiculous. But like you got to look at it the bigger picture where it's like This is the big wrestling show that like everyone's talking about. Like people that don't talk about wrestling are going to talk about this show. You want to put as many people on this card as you can. And like I'm surprised they haven't announced the battle royal. Like I'm just going to say I know some people don't like battle royals. The fact that there's no battle royal announced yet for this pay-per-view, maybe the 0 hour, that's crazy. I can't believe that there's no pay-per-view or no battle royale announced for this.
I'm almost certain that they're gonna add another match on Collision, but we shall see.
Yeah, but so you mean the Kuja said this is a once in a lifetime pay-per-view show. Like this is again, like yeah, like this is like Forbidden Door. It's like you kind of need to let a few things go. You know what I mean? Like the way Forbidden Door does end up kind of not being a super canonical wrestling show in the AEW yearly story. Obviously it happens, but they really kind of put everything on pause to do these Forbidden Door shows.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of concept where it's like, look, man, you just got to look at it and just, even if they're multi-man matches, they're all great matches. Like, I don't know. We're going to talk about the card, but like, yeah, like if your complaint is that you don't want to see multi-man matches, like,
I
go ahead,
mean,
Jeff.
like I said, 4 out of the 10 are singles matches. You got 1, 2, 3 tag team matches. One of them's on the pre-card. That's the MJF Adam Cole versus Aussie Open. Then there's 1, 2 trios matches. Like that ratio is fine actually. I think once this is all shaped up, it's fine. I have no problems with this.
I agree. I think that people just like to complain for the sake of complaining, and I just don't think they actually like the product.
Yeah, and to the
And I
Cougs
don't
point,
mean to offend anyone because I know there are people in our viewership that right now are kind of out on the pay-per-view in general, but it's just like you got to look at it in a way that's reasonable. Like they're doing all in and then all out. Like what do you expect? Like all in is the show to do the multi-man matches. Like that's just what it is.
yeah, I think it's fine. It looks good actually.
I
Can't wait
agree.
for that Stadium Stampede match, dude. Santana and
Bro,
Ortiz
I
making their
know.
first time back. Oh, yes. All right, let's go ahead and move on here. Next up, we had John Moxley versus Ray Fenix in a absolutely awesome match. Ray Fenix is just an absolutely amazing wrestler. This was obviously to write off Ray Fenix off of TV here, so that we do know now that he cannot make his way over to the UK for that show. So after an amazing match here, Fenix got to put on an awesome display. I mean, they gave him all the time he needed to basically do all of his moves and everything like that. Moxley hits him with an avalanche death rider from, I believe it was either the second rope or the top rope. I think it was the top rope. Only gets a 2.999 on that one. I couldn't believe Fenix kicked out of that. Moxley locks in the sleeper choke immediately, puts him to sleep, rings the bell. They start a beatdown of Fenix where Claudio and Yuta come out and they got some crowbars. They're about to take him out with the crowbars. And the best friends show up. And with the best friends showing up, Santana and Ortiz make their way back to AEW. And Eddie Kingston is also there with the best friends. And Eddie is absolutely like blown away that Santana and Ortiz are here. He doesn't know what to do. He basically just stands there for a moment. He does go after Claudio though. This was a little hectic. I think the camera even missed the crowbar to Ray Fenix, but it was really nice to see Santana and Ortiz coming back here. They absolutely annihilated Ray Fenix with a crowbar. Wheeler Yuta does that, and it looks like he's been written off TV. He gets stretchered out, and one thing that I like is Excalibur here, man. Excalibur sold this almost for the rest of the night. His voice was so somber and like very like distraught and sad for the next at least 10 minutes. This was fantastic. The whole thing.
So I'll even do you one better. I think this was excellent. Yes, because of Excalibur, but in general, the tone that they played this at was just completely perfect. It was everyone. It was everyone
Yes.
and everything. Like the stretcher, the ambulance, Eddie looking distraught. Not just because Eddie has to put his brother Ray Fenix in an ambulance, but because three of his best friends, and this is the beauty of this Stadium Stampede, and if you're not excited for this,
Use the left hand for that. There we
gotcha.
go.
The beauty of this is that so Eddie Kingston fucking hates Claudio Castagnoli. This man, if Eddie could get away with murder for one person in the world, Eddie could murder anyone in the world, and he can only pick one person. It's Claudio. He would murder him in a second. And now, people that Eddie have called his best friends, Mox, Santana, and Ortiz, his brothers,
Yeah.
are all standing against him, defending his biggest enemy. And when I say that this is booking and storytelling on just a level that like
What's the word the kids like to use these days? Cinema.
cinema, yeah. um just the cinema.
Dude,
Like
the
you
part
said,
where Renee, so they go backstage to where they're putting Fenix into the ambulance.
Mhm.
Eddie is absolutely distraught. He's
Yes.
just beside himself. He's like, get that camera out of my face. And Renee Paquette shows up. And Eddie's like, you. And he's like, do you see what your husband did? And this was the first time that I have felt like this, where I'm like, is Renee Paquette secretly a heel and just absolutely planting seeds every single interview? And when you look at this episode, every single interview she does was trying to stir the pot with someone. I was like,
Mhm.
wait a minute. Is she like a secret member of the Blackpool Combat Club just causing shit backstage everywhere? It was weird, but this was great.
Yeah, I think that it's excellent. And in every segment on this show, I feel like, and especially up to this point that we're talking about, they've just been excellent. This is one of the AEW's best go home shows because there's just so many excellent angles really leading into the pay-per-view. And like, I mean, you gotta be excited for if you're not excited for this, if you're not excited for Stadium Stampede with Claudio and Mox and Yuta and Santana Ortiz and Eddie Kingston and best friends and Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy, who, mind you, when he came down to ringside today, came down with a fucking chain wrapped around his hand, ready to just murder someone.
He's going to do something crazy in that match. You know he
He's gonna
is.
do the Superman punch. You know what I mean? Like
Superman punch like
anyway,
off the stadium.
yeah, I don't even know what they're gonna do. But like, if you're looking at this all in card, and like also keep in mind that every Stadium Stampede / Anarchy in the Arena to date in AEW has been an easy 5-star minimum match, right? So like the fact that there are people that are sitting here and just like, I don't know, man, this is not doing it for me. Like,
Perfect.
I don't know. Like, it's crazy. I feel like I'm in the fucking Twilight Zone. Like, where it's just like, I don't know, man. Anarchy Stadium Stampede in front of 80,000 people. It's just not doing it. I'm just like, okay, whatever you
Okay.
say, man. God bless you. I don't know
Oh,
if you like the
dude.
rest.
Coog just made a great point, man. When Penta's pissed off, he turns into Pentagon Dark, and it's almost guaranteed that's what we're gonna get. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh hell yeah,
Um,
Coog! Thanks for pointing that out.
yeah. So, and then I also love, just to close on this. So Eddie is talking to Renee, and it harkens back to when Renee told Eddie he needs to fix this a couple months back before he left for Japan. And Eddie says, "Oh, I'll fix it. I'll fix it at Wembley."
Yeah, I'll fix it at Wembley.
Hmm.
All right, it's gonna be fantastic. I can't wait for that match. Next up, we had Sammy Guevara backstage with Renee Paquette. She starts to ask him questions of, why are you helping Jericho again? trying to stir the pot here. Daddy Magic and Cool Hand Angelo Parker show up, and they basically like yell at Sammy like, "Why are you helping him? You know, he's not who you think he is." And Sammy's like, "Oh no, he's not who you think he is." You know, it's nice little back and forth between these guys, but I'm hoping that we get 2.0 back. Do you think we're ever going to see 2.0 back, or do you think they're going to get a new gimmick if they do, you know, evolve again?
I think the JS is gonna get back together, to be honest.
You think so? Like a full-blown get back together?
I think so.
Okay, I
I
could
mean, we'll
see it.
see. I thought the segment was good. It was a good promo. It's Sammy explaining why. So what I appreciated about this promo is Sammy explains why he's not going to leave Jericho's side. He's like, he's my friend, and like Jericho was friends with Don for like 30 something years. So of course he's gonna be blinded by friendship and make a bad decision there. That's when friends stick by their friends the most. Like when you subscribe to Twitter Blue, you know what I mean? Like I was there for you to try to help you understand that that was a bad idea. Anyways, I digress. 2.0. So I said out loud, I was like, well, Sammy, is if you're worried about friendship blinding someone, are you falling into that trap? And Cool Hand Ange, he says that right after I said it. So I loved that this was very logical. It was really well done where it's like, hey, you know, that's a great point from 2.0 because I was thinking the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So really good. I liked it a lot. It explains a lot of things. It sets up. It's good.
Yeah, agreed. All right, next up was Chris Jericho and the Will Ospreay contract signing. I did not know this was going to be part of the show tonight, so I got really excited when I saw this kind of start to go down. Ospreay comes out first with Don Callis. The crowd fucking hates Don Callis, man. Jesus, he gets. I mean, it's easily Dominic Mysterio levels of heat without the pumped in crowd as well. You know what I mean?
Right.
Jericho makes his way out to a full entrance with Sammy Guevara, and man, Callis gets on the mic. He cuts himself a nice promo. Will by God Ospreay, you know, and Will Ospreay grabs the mic from Don Callis, and holy shit, does Will Ospreay cut a fucking amazing promo here about Wembley and Jericho. He says, he's like, "Are you taking this match seriously? You know, this match, this is defining my career." He's like, "This is the biggest moment of my career." He's like, "You better be taking me seriously, bruv." And I mean, I love that English slang that he's got. He sounds like he is from like the dirtiest streets of England, you know. I love Will Ospreay. I'm actually wearing his shirt right now. Kingpin of professional wrestling, baby. Um, this
So
was incredible.
for sure. So Don says that he enlisted Osprey to help end Jericho. He says a few years ago, you nearly died in England. Osprey says, "I'm here on Sunday." Oh no, Don says, "I'm here on Sunday to ensure that the job gets finished. I'm going to help Will Osprey murder you."
Yeah, that was
Basically.
crazy.
And like you said, Will says that Jericho isn't taking this seriously. Will puts over Wembley and the show in general. He said this is the biggest match of his life. He needs this money for his family. And then he goes on to say that he says, "Once I've beaten you at Wembley, I'll be able to say that I've beaten Kenny Omega, Kazuchika Okada, and Chris Jericho in 2 months." And he says, "In 6 months, my New Japan Pro Wrestling contract comes up. Who's not
Dude,
gonna pay millions of dollars for someone like me?" He says, "I'm better than the Elite. I'm better than Danielson. I'm better than Punk. And I'm better than you. This is the biggest match of my career. And I'm going to beat you." So Jericho, like you said, absolute home run from Will Ospreay. Am curious what's going to happen in 6 months. I kind of feel like he's going to stay in New Japan, but at the end of the day, draws buzz. And he sets himself up nicely if he ever does sign with AEW, because he basically calls out the Elite and Danielson and Punk. So, you know, he'll have some stuff ready to go when he gets here, if he comes here. But I do think he's going to stay in. So Jericho grabs the and he says, he starts off a little shaky. And so I was like, okay, I was kind of hoping that Jericho was really going to sell it here because there are some concerns about the match, which we'll talk about in a second. But so Jericho then picks it up a notch and says, "This is the biggest match of my career." He's like, "This is bigger than All In is bigger than WrestleMania or anything in the Tokyo Dome." He says, "This isn't a vanity project. How dare you say that? I'm on the top of the mountain, and everyone is constantly planning my demise." Um, Chris Jericho.
So
Here's
good,
the.
dude.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead. Say what you guys say.
I was just saying, so good, dude.
So here's the thing, right? I understand that disliking Chris Jericho, it feels like a popular thing in 2023. The dude's getting a little bit up in the years. Not everything he does is a home run anymore. And I just feel like it feels like the cool thing to do to dog on the guy. I'll say this. Is there concerns about the match on Sunday? Slightly. I would say it's fair to be concerned about whether the match is going to be good or not. Can Chris Jericho keep up with Will Ospreay at his best in 2023? Probably not. However, I would offer this advice up is to never count out Chris Jericho. Because every once in a while these days, every few weeks, Chris Jericho shows up and absolutely crushes it, hits a home. He's got Floyd, he's got his little bat, and knocks it out of the park. So I'm absolutely going to give Chris Jericho David, what's up, David Durham? We'll talk about that in a little bit. I absolutely think that Chris Jericho deserves the benefit of the doubt for this Sunday. I think that if you are sitting here and you're like, man, this match is definitely going to suck, then you clearly have not watched Chris Jericho's career over the last 30 years. Fuck, you could even just say because he's older now, you haven't watched Chris Jericho's AEW career. This guy's put on some really great stuff in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So I think you're doing yourself a disservice, and you're doing a disservice to Chris Jericho, the legend that is Chris Jericho,
Le
by not giving
champion.
this guy the benefit of the doubt that the match is going to be good. Like that's my thing. Like if you asked me to pick one match on this card that I think could not meet expectations, it would be this match. But
Oh
does
no.
Chris Jericho really not deserve the benefit of the doubt here? Like he said, it's the biggest match of his career. It is. It factually is. It is the biggest match of everybody's career on this card. That's just factual.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you're sitting here and you're choosing to be down on Chris Jericho and Will Ospreay at All in Wembley in front of 80,000 plus with Fozzy playing Judas, then you know what?
Oh, there you go.
There it is. I can't help you. I'm sorry. Trust in Chris Jericho and Will Ospreay. And if the match sucks, then we'll talk about it on Sunday. We'll be here. Live watch along. Come hang out. We'll talk about how the match sucks. But I'm not gonna sit here, especially after this excellent segment,
So
and just be like, this match is good.
I gotta
No
I gotta
way.
try to be a devil's advocate here because my brain is
Go
really
ahead.
looking at a match here. So the biggest match of everyone's career, I'm seeing CM Punk versus Samoa Joe here. And I really feel like CM Punk versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania was a little bigger for him. Just a little bit. I don't know. What do you think?
So I would say no, because he was for Punk. I mean, like maybe Punk was honored, possibly, but like
Yeah.
unfortunately, Punk is just a statistic on that
Yeah, true.
legacy.
He's just number 20, right?
No, he was number 29. No, wait.
He
Yeah,
lost at
20. Like,
21. It was 21-1 or something like that, or 20-1.
well, then Punk was the last one to beat or to lose to him.
That's what I think. That's what I mean. Yeah, he was
Yeah,
like,
so yeah, he was 21. Yeah, I don't know why I said 29. I don't know what I was thinking. But no, 21. I would argue that no, that is not the biggest match of Punk's career. I mean,
okay.
I think the biggest match of Punk's career prior to this Sunday, I mean, or if you want to argue above this Sunday,
Dog collar match.
I don't know if it's biggest. I would say it's either him versus Cena at Money in the Bank or him versus Hangman at Double or Nothing.
Ooh, that was a good one.
And again, biggest doesn't mean best. It just means
Yeah.
the biggest match.
That's what I
You know
mean.
what I
Yeah.
mean? So, yeah.
But I mean, it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great.
So a big fight breaks out here with Jericho and Osprey, and that was nice. Next up, we'll move on here to Adam Cole with Renee Paquette doing her sit down interview backstage. And, Renee Paquette, again, stirring the pot a little bit, shows a completely different video to Adam Cole than she showed to MJF. She shows Adam Cole some clips of him kind of looking like he was going to super kick MJF from behind, and Cole kind of like turns his head away and doesn't want to watch. And she gets him all pissed off, not she's asking those questions about whether are they really friends. And I think again this is where I was like, Renee, what are you doing? But Adam Cole gets very angry up into the camera and cuts a pretty decent heel promo there. I mean, it felt like he was being a heel even though the words coming out weren't really heel words, didn't it?
I don't think that his promo came off as heel. He was
Just
angry
that
though. I
final
mean,
just that final up close segment on the camera.
well, he was just angry.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I mean, like he talks about he wants to be the best wrestler. And he has an interesting line where he says MJF has reminded him who he really is. That was an line right there. He says that the AEW Championship cements you as the absolute best in professional wrestling, the top guy. He says, I don't want to win, I need to win. And I think that this storyline in general has just been absolutely gripping and just very, again, multi-level, multifaceted, because like right now, I mean, like you said, just to finish this before I give my thoughts. So Adam Cole is furious about them being is furious about the accusations about whether they're actually friends or not. Um, and so he gets angry. He ends the interview short. And what you see here is just like the vibe that I'm getting is that Adam Cole might be the one to turn on MJF. I don't think that that's the right call personally. That's just my opinion. Um, but I think that this can kind of go both ways, and I think it's a really well booked segment in that regards because both MJF and Adam Cole are saying things that would lead you to believe that number one, that they will be the one to turn on each other, and number two, that they won't be the one to turn on. I think this has been excellently written storyline. I don't know if there was an audible called or not. Keep them partners going into All In. I don't know. But regardless, it was definitely the right call because there is just so much level of intrigue to this storyline about like it's just multi-level where it's like, will they win the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champion? Will they turn on each other in that match? And if so, who's going to do it? Will they make it to the actual main event and still be friends? Like, will one of them turn on each other there? Will Adam Cole, swerve and turn heel and then you can ask like, well, can he win the title? Because theoretically, I mean, he's definitely believable to beat MJF, especially if he cheats to win and turns heel. There's so many levels and so many questions, and all of it makes sense and all of it works that it's just excellently done. And if you're sitting here and you're thinking to yourself, man, this Adam Cole MJF storyline is just not doing it for me. I don't like great wrestling. I don't like great main events. And then like I don't like Aussie Open tag teaming. Like, man, like these all sound like great matches, but I'm just not into it. And if that's you, if you're sitting here thinking that, then look at it. Look at it. Like I can't keep saying it. So that's why Jeff made a graphic of it. Cuz it's like this is going to be great. I might not agree with the booking of it at the end if Adam Cole does turn on Jeff because again, I don't think that's what they should do.
Oh, see, that's funny because that's exactly what I think they should do.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, I would love for you to elaborate. So I don't think that in the grand scheme of things, I think you're looking right now in the micro, but you got to look at the macro. I think that you want MJF to be holding the title come December. Like, I think that that's something that they want, and you should want to see that because that's the whole payoff for the 2024 storyline. MJF has clearly signed an extension. This guy is clearly locked down for probably years and years.
Hmm.
So if MJF's going to continue this storyline with the bidding war of 2024, Like, you want that world title included in that to escalate. So, I mean, even if he hasn't re-signed an extension, you still want that belt on him to keep that escalate.
Yeah, I can
So
see that.
I just don't see it being the feasible thing to do. Plus, again, Adam Cole did just kind of turn babyface a couple months ago. I think it's too soon to turn him back. But there's a lot of things at play. Again, things that I wasn't even talking about. Like, is Roderick Strong going to be involved? What about the Kingdom? What about Kyle O'Reilly? I mean, he's out, but could he be ready to return soon? You would think so. Like, there's so many things going on here, and I love it because it's so unpredictable. And in the meantime, we're gonna get great matches between these. So,
Yeah, so you said you want me to elaborate. So like
yeah.
here's what I'm hoping happens. I'm
Okay.
hoping that the pre-show, the 0 hour match, I hope Adam Cole just refuses to tag in and completely tires out MJF for the match later. And then that would be where his turn could happen right there, right? And then obviously the Kingdom can come and try to assist Adam Cole. So that doesn't mean MJF doesn't have to win. MJF could still, be the babyface that perseveres and keeps his championship here. But it really, really feels like Adam Cole is turning and he's going to be the leader of this new Kingdom here. Especially with there's a promo that happens later that almost solidified what I think is happening.
Yeah,
But
but so like, I agree with that. Again, that's why I said the vibe I'm getting
yeah,
is that is what's gonna happen. Like, I'm agreeing with you that I think that that's where we're going.
yeah.
But I argue, is it the right thing to do in the grand scheme of things? I
And
don't think that's the case.
I see what you're saying because I hear you guys are always like, he just turned babyface. Adam Cole does his best work as a heel, so I love seeing him as a heel. I don't mind it. I don't mind the turn right now. I really don't.
But even if you take that out of the equation, right? Like, let's say you take that and you throw that out.
Mhm.
So my follow up is that, like, okay, so what do you do with MJF if MJF loses to Adam Cole all in? What do you do with MJF from now until December?
CM Punk with the real championship.
But why? If MJF is clearly ignoring CM Punk,
True. Yep, that's
and so
definitely
MJF is
true.
not acknowledging this real world championship as a real world championship, like, why would MJF lower himself to go for that belt? Because again, in canon, like, Punk is not the world champion.
No.
He's my world champion, but he's not the world champion. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? So it's like, this is not a sanctioned belt. This is CM Punk using this as a plot device. I know some people can't wrap their head around that, but it's called a plot device. There will be, like, payoff to why he has them when the time comes. But until now, I don't. I mean, maybe they go that way, Jeff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
See,
just think there's enough going on where you keep that belt on MJF. I think there's too many. It just doesn't make
yeah.
sense. Not
I
to me
have
anyway.
faith that whatever they do, it's going to be awesome. I think we're going to be like, wow, that was cool. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
Duke said it best. If you don't love professional wrestling, I can't help you.
All right.
I think I said
Next
that. I
up,
think it was cool.
we had Darby Allin and Nick Wayne versus AR Fox and Swerve Strickland. Um, Man, AR Fox is still wearing that bloody tank top from beating the living daylights out of Nick Wayne or committing attempted murder, to be honest with you, which will come in a little bit later. Um, this was a freaking awesome match, man. Like Nick Wayne with his double Wayne's World off the looked like it was the middle rope to the outside, hitting a double cutter, which is what the Wayne's World is. He hits a double cutter on the outside. That was freaking awesome. Um, Swerve Strickland and AR Fox just beating the daylights out of this kid right in front of his mom, who was ringside. This was awesome, man. I had a blast during this entire match. What about you?
Yeah, this match was really good. I really loved it. It was just a lot of fun. Um, Darby and Nick Wayne end up winning this. I'm a big fan of the tornado tag match. I
Yes,
really like those. Always a big fan of them.
forgot to mention that it was a tornado tag match. Yeah,
Um,
I loved the finish here. So like Nick Wayne gets murdered like 8 times in a row, and he gets pinned in between each time and kicks out over and over and over. So they just pick him up, murder him, pin him, kicks out, murder him. Like it was, I was dying. I was laughing my ass off at this. Um, and then Nick Wayne hits a wild roll up. It looked like the Last Supper from Darby. It was one of the pins Darby uses. I know that. And he picks up the roll up win on AR Fox for the 1, 2, 3. Dude, this was great. I absolutely loved everything about the match. My only problem is with what came after. Um, I liked how Swerve was disappointed in AR Fox, and I like how Prince Nana fired him. Absolutely great all the way up to that point. But Darby Allin like hugging AR Fox and being like, "I love you, bro," after literal attempted murder on Nick Wayne. I'm like, dude, no, that's too far. You know what I mean? Like Nick Wayne should have turned around and looked at Darby like, "Excuse me, no, I'm about to kill this dude."
so I mean, I'm a little conflicted because so I think that this match, a change was made very recently.
Okay.
Like in terms of like a backstage plan. Obviously tonight the match changed, but I think that this match was course corrected. And I have a theory as to why.
Okay.
So hear me out. So and we have to continue on. So obviously, yeah, he picks up AR Fox and he forgives him for all his wrongdoing because Darby is just that kind of guy. And who comes out? He says, "So who do you have now? What's your backup?" And Swerve and Prince Nana are just laughing. They're just laughing. And then out behind them comes Christian Cage and Luchasaurus.
Dude, I
And
was like, "Oh no."
Christian Cage says to Darby, he's like, "Hey Darby, why haven't you introduced me to your little friend?" He's like, "Nick Wayne." He was like, it's come to my understanding
Oh
that
shit.
you had a father."
Yeah,
Oh my
I immediately was
god.
just like, "Oh no."
I was dying. And he's like, "Your dad's fucking dead, bro." It's like, oh my god. And then Christian goes one step further and he's like, "I don't even know who your dad was. So that means he was a nobody. He died a nobody." And I'm just like standing and I'm just like I fell to my knees and I looked to the heavens above and I said, "Lord, please forgive me because I was sold a bill of fake goods." Vince McMahon made like probably the worst crime that Vince McMahon committed was that he made me think that Christian Cage, Jay Rezzo, was fucking mid. And now I just feel like the biggest idiot. You know, we all make mistakes, Jeff. We're all human. You know, like I live with it. I'm gonna continue to live with this mistake that I've made. But Christian Cage, we don't deserve this. Like the fact that AEW and I'm stealing this because this was a tweet that I shared in the Discord. But the fact that we have it so Christian Cage basically calling out some kid for his dad being dead is the equivalent of Captain America grabbing Thor's hammer. The fact that that is the equivalent is just like that's insane. That is absolutely um something else. And then Christian Cage has like is like eventually I'll end up as your mentor because that's just what I do. I do that with people that don't have dads. I end up being their mentor. Um
The asshole chants from the crowd were so loud. That might have been the loudest moment for the crowd of the night.
also Christian then says, "I'd hate to see you close that coffin on someone you love again." God. Oh,
He's a
so good.
genius. He's one of the best on the mic in the business. He's
It's
in like the
insane to me.
top 5 easy.
So my vision, and obviously it's been said that he's not a until the end of the month, or the end of September. But you got to think that the report came out today from the Pro Wrestling Torch that WWE Edge approached WWE and he said, "Hey, this is what it's going to take for you to re-sign me." And WWE said, "No, we don't accept those terms. We are not re-signing you if those are what you're asking for." Now that doesn't sound like a man that's retiring. It doesn't.
Mm-mm.
So, and now it's reported by PW Torch that WWE believes that Edge is going to AEW. And you just obviously I could be wrong. It happens. But don't you think that it's kind of crazy that they just like made this random swerve change on the go home show of the pay-per-view to make sure Christian is on the card in a match that's a no DQ style match? You don't think that's kind of like you don't see the wheel turning? You know what I mean? Like I could see Edge debuting it All In by assisting Christian Cage in the coffin match.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that too, but that contract thing is all that bothers me. You never know.
Well, Edge said that, but if Edge is going all in and wants
Oh,
to
and if he's
maintain
throwing off the scent, covering his tracks in the snow. Okay.
exactly. I mean, again,
What up, Michael?
what's up, Michael? Again, that doesn't mean that this is all definitely happening. I'm just saying if you look at it in a critical way and you're analyzing what other reason is it for them to last second on the go home show before, like a day or two before they get on the plane to go to London, they're changing this match. And again, like you said, it doesn't make a lot of sense for Darby to just forgive AR Fox. Like, this all went about in such a quick and weird way that it's totally understandable for them to be like, like to look at this and shake your head or scratch your head and be like, why did this happen so quickly? What is the weird? This is a really weird change. And I even said in the Discord, I was like, whoa, this is surprising. Like, this is a really weird direction that they're going in.
Yeah, and
You gotta think that change is intentional. Like, there's got to be a reason for that change.
And didn't Tony say like some things happened that kind of shook up some things, and I had to make some new matches? And
he did say that.
I wonder if he was slyly hinting at this.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see on Sunday. But I would say that I feel like that's the reason why you put Christian. You put Christian in this match to get Edge, because Edge is.
All right. Next up, we had the Young Bucks with Renee Paquette and FTR backstage doing kind of a back and forth interview here. I really liked this. The Bucks kind of throwing out a low blow here. Matt, telling FTR, you guys were just named on our YouTube channel. That one didn't seem to sit well with Dax and Cash. And this one feels personal now, man. It really does.
Yeah, I mean, this was again like, and I meant to say it about the last match too with the coffin match, but like, man, if you're sitting here and two of the greatest tag teams of all time are about to have their rubber match to determine which one of them really is the greatest of all time in front of 80,000 plus on the biggest pro wrestling show of all time, like, I can't help you. I can't help you if you're not looking at this match. If you're looking at this match, you're like, seems like a Dynamite match. What the fuck?
No, yeah.
What are you talking about? This is the rubber match of two of the greatest tag teams of all time. You know what I mean? And it's just like,
listen, this is what happens when Tony Khan puts on those Dynamites that we're like, this is a pay-per-view quality match. Now people are like, oh, this is a Dynamite match. And I'm like, no, that Dynamite match was a pay-per-view quality match. Shut up.
shut up. You heard it here first. Jeff just told Coach Nick to shut up. There you go. But so yeah, I really loved when Nick says, we don't need to beat you, but you need to beat us. He's like, we're the reason you have jobs. Dak says, "Leave my daughter out of this."
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, like you said, the Bucks say that like when all is said and done, and we retire, and people finally give us our mother effing flower, they're gonna say those guys are the greatest tag team of all time. And then Matt says, but when they look at you, FTR, they're gonna say, "Oh, well, those guys," and they're not gonna whisper it. Matt says, "Those are the guys that got their names from Matt and from the Bucks' YouTube show." I stood up. I was like, "God damn!" Oh,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, the Elite have already won. The Bucks have already won. You know,
That was the low
I
blow,
would, I
man.
would, I would caution them though. I mean, obviously, you don't want to rile up FTR Bald and FTR Glock too much. You know, you never know what's gonna happen there. But it's gonna be a great match on Sunday.
It is. It's gonna be real good. All right, next up we had Ruby Soho versus Sky Blue. Very good match here. Sky Blue is trying to pick up a win against Ruby Soho. Sky Blue attacks before the bell. She tries to get the upper hand. They had a really nice back and forth. 1-2 roll up, 1-2 roll up, 1-2 back and forth. That was really nice. But Ruby Soho does wind up hitting the No Future and the Destination Unknown. Ruby Soho picks up the 1-2-3 here for the win. And man, maybe you can enlighten me. Why are we pinning Sky Blue, of all people, so often right now? Like, can't we
Um,
throw out some jobbers like that nobody cares about? Like, everyone really likes Sky Blue.
no, Jeff, I don't want any squash matches. We talked about this on
Doesn't
Saturday.
have
I
to
don't
be
need
a
any.
squash match,
You
just
said you wanted a jobber to be thrown out there. I don't need no jobbers out there. I want competition.
throw
I want
Billy
Sky Blue to
Starks
be
out
on
there.
Dynamite.
Billy Starks doesn't need to get squashed, you know what I mean? Something like that. Somebody that we
Yeah.
enjoy seeing, that we know, but give her 3 or 4 minutes.
I think Sky Blue is at a point in her career where it's okay for her to get some losses. She's still relatively new. She still has ways to go. She's doing better. She's doing really good, but like she's just not at that stage of her career where she needs to be winning matches. So it's okay. It's all right.
No. No Sky Blue losing.
You're just obsessed with her butt. So
It's fine.
tell me when
Ruby
I'm
wins.
tell me when I'm
Wonderful.
telling lies. Tell me when I'm telling lies. And I'm sorry, Jeff, but if you can't see past the very impressive, assets of a female wrestler to see the bigger picture, then Jeff, I'm sorry, but
Making me press the button against myself, really? I like the word you use there, assets. That's a nice choice of words. Next up, we had Renee Paquette with Roderick Strong and the Kingdom. Again, stirring the pot, Renee. I'm seeing a pattern here. And this is the promo where it made me definitely more confident in my prediction from earlier with Adam Cole being the one to turn. Where Roderick says, this week at Wembley, you're going to see the real Adam Cole and the real MJF. That
well,
really
so
made me feel like my prediction's going to come true.
well, so here's the thing, right? So yes, like I agree with you. I think that there is a really smart way that that's what that means. However, this has been so well booked that it could just be what it is. It could just be Roddy saying, you're going to see Adam Cole be this good guy who's going to do the right thing and just try to win the matches and whatever. And you're going to see MJF expose himself as the devil that he admits he is. So, like, I just think that it's just so masterfully done. And the storytelling is just so beautiful here, where, like, it could go either way. It could be that. You could be right. Where like this is all very smart wordplay leading to an Adam Cole heel turn and him turning on MJF. However, it could also just be what it is. It is what it is. And it's just like, yes, MJF is evil and he will turn on Adam Cole. Like, I think both of those are extremely plausible. And that's great. That's
Yeah, and
beautiful storytelling. That we're sitting here like we have no idea. We have no
yeah,
idea what they're gonna go. No
and I
idea.
agree. That's what's so great about this. I could be completely wrong, and For all we know, MJF could have a great match in that tag team match with Adam Cole, but then he could leave Adam Cole hanging, and then it could go so many different ways. I love it. I'm so into this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up we had a House of Black video package with Billy Gunn's boots being thrown into a trash compactor, and Excalibur saying that they destroyed his boots. And immediately after this video package, the Acclaimed come walking straight to the ring. No music, no rap, no nothing. Immediately get on the mic and call out the House of Black. And the House of Black comes out with a full entrance, man. I absolutely loved it. That entrance is just fantastic. And then we have a 3-on-2 fight where the Acclaimed get their asses absolutely handed to them. And Billy Gunn returns. Daddy Ass comes down for the save. He gets on the mic and he says, one more time, all in Wembley. But it's not going to be Daddy Ass you guys are facing. It's going to be the badass Billy Gunn at Wembley Stadium with the Acclaimed versus the House of Black. What do you think?
So all I can say is wow.
So good.
This is just excellent, man. Like this is just an excellent Dynamite from top to bottom. Everything is just so good because like the Acclaim came out no rap, first time ever. So okay, holy shit, like that's
I didn't even think
completely
about
out of
that.
who
First
they
time
are.
ever.
Yeah, they've never not come out to the raps, even when they were like like a brand new team jobbing on Dark. They always rap.
Yeah.
The first time ever where they didn't rap. You know what I mean? Um, and he says no more fun time, no more games. Make the lights go out. Let's fight. And I was just like, holy shit. It's just
Yeah,
like
that was
this
great
is
when he was
the
like, make the lights go off. I was like, yes, reference it.
yeah. House of Black show up. They're beating him down. Billy comes out. Billy says, when you beat me for the second time in a row, I did the two hardest things I've ever done. I walked out on Max and Anthony,
My
and I
sons.
walked my kids, and I walked away from a great career. You hurt my kids and destroyed my boots. Side note, Austin Gunn tweeted, your kids, you should have stayed retired. Um, but he says, I've built my career over 32 years. I've done stuff that will go down in history. So one more time, all or nothing, at all in, I'll take everything from you. And I'm going to be the badass Billy Gunn. And I
Such
was
a
just
good
like,
line.
which one? They're all so
That
good.
entire last like 3 or 4 sentences that Billy said, like, I'm gonna take
Right.
everything from you, oh, it was so good.
And so yeah, that sets up for the trios titles match at All In. And I would say if you are not excited for number one, potentially Billy Gunn's last match, because this is for the titles and he says double or nothing one more time. So that implies that he's either going to win the titles or retire. So like you're either going to see Billy Gunn in 2023 win a title or retire. If you're not excited for that, you're not excited to see the Acclaimed on the card, you're not excited to possibly get a legendary rap from Max Caster in Wembley. If you're not excited for the House of Black being on this show, if you're not excited for this probable banger that we're going to get of a trios match, then there it is. It's my gimmick now. This is what everyone's turned me into. Man with a sign. Don't make me tap the sign.
Very
But
good
here we
stuff
are.
here. Very good stuff.
No, it's excellent. It's so good.
Oh yeah. Next up, it's time for the main event. The Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships were on the line between the Hardy Brothers and Aussie Open. This was a decent match. I'm not gonna go like out on a limb and say this was great. Like I don't think anybody needs to go out of their way to see it or anything like that. But I still enjoyed it thoroughly. Aussie Open are freaking awesome. Seeing the Hardys back together, I'm kind of torn on it. You know what I mean? Like at this point, I don't know if I need it anymore. But what do you think? It's a tough one for me. I don't know.
I thought Aussie Open won this match in a dominant fashion, which as they should have.
Yes.
Obviously there is some novelty to the Hardys. I don't think that the Hardys can really go anymore.
That's
I think
kind of what I
Matt
was getting at.
I think Matt is more capable at this point than Jeff. Um, but this is the spot that these guys should be in. This was like an 8 or 9 minute sprint to the finish match. You hit the spots. Um, it's the kind of match that the Hardys are going to have at this, and I'm okay with that. I think that
Yeah,
there's a place for it. Now, mind you, my initial thought was I don't know if this should have main evented, but
that's what I was
but
thinking.
the end of the show segment is why it main evented.
Yes.
So I'm going to give it that where I'm going to give it the pass where it's like, okay, well, you're setting up for the show to end with Adam Cole and MJF, and that's how it makes sense. And so I'm okay with it.
Yep. That's
Um,
exactly where I'm at. I'm glad we're on the same page.
for sure. Um, yeah, I think that this match was exactly what it needed to be. Aussie Open came out looking good. They beat the Hardy Boys. Great for them. Great for their record, for their clout. Defended their titles, and then they're talking. So I'm really impressed with this stare down at the end because they transitioned. They did two different segments,
Yeah.
like two different show endings that we've seen. So like they have the tag team set up where it's like oh yeah they're gonna brawl and MJF and Adam Cole they clear the ring with them and then like that's where the show would usually end, but instead they then do the stare down with MJF and Adam Cole, and MJF he takes out the Dynamite Diamond ring after he doesn't shake Adam's hand, and then he puts the ring away and then he hugs Adam, and it's like again it's fucking excellent. This is just
Yeah.
really excellent stuff where you don't know which way they're gonna go with it. um and this has been an amazing story, no matter what happens on Sunday. Um,
It's
and I think
such
if you don't like it,
it's
you're
such an
you're
hold on before you make me press the button again.
yeah.
It's such an emotional roller coaster with Adam Cole and MJF because they come out here to get face to face with Aussie Open. The brawl starts. MJF saves Adam Cole from a double clothesline, right? They shout no double clothesline, no kangaroo kick. And as MJF holds up Fletcher, Adam Cole goes to super kick him. Fletcher kind of wiggles out and dives out of the way, but MJF catches Adam Cole's foot and he just stares him down angrily. And I'm like, he's got to know that it wasn't on purpose, but he's staring at him like he's angry and causes both of them to kind of get face to face for a second. And, just that emotional roller coaster within 30 seconds, it was like up and down, man. I was just loving every moment of this.
Man. So like, look, it's I think that this episode of Dynamite, number one, Jeff just put the sign up now while I'm talking, and keep it up. I think that this episode of Dynamite is one of the best, if not the best, go home show AEW has ever done for a pay-per-view ever. Ever. Like that's where we're at. Like this was the best go home show they've ever done. And I understand that some people, some in good faith, some not so much, they do kind of rag on AEW for their builds to pay-per-views. But like I think this build has been excellent for All In. I think All In is shaping up to be the greatest. It's going to be an all-timer show. It's going to be an absolute banger of a pay-per-view. It's going to be a pay-per-view that we're talking about for years to come. And not just because of the 80,000. Obviously, that's a big part of it, but it's going to be an excellent show. And I think that, to quote Coog, Vincels are going to be crying come Sunday. I think this match or this show is going to be an all-time. I
Do
just
you hear
feel it.
what they're trying to say to combat the largest show of all time now? They're like, we
Yeah,
sold
I have.
90,000 in one day for WrestleMania 40. And I'm like, that's two different shows that sold 40,000 each. Like, do you not understand that? WrestleMania sells out instantly just about every time. It's just two shows. Like, come on.
No, it's laughable, but you know what? Come Sunday, no amounts of copium will be able to help them. Across the land, cope will be had.
Yeah.
Hope you got that. You know, think about it.
So
Think
I
about it.
100% agree with you that this was their best go home show of all time. It's kind of funny you said that. I was like, I had the same thought process. This was an amazing go home show. Absolutely fantastic. Now, it does worry me that the Collision go home needs to live up to this as well, which being taped tonight, I'm not too confident in that, but still, it should be fine.
So I'll disagree with you. I don't think that the Collision show, because it's taped, I don't think the Collision show needs to be it, because everyone knows that this was the last live show before
Yeah,
All In.
I can feel that.
Um, Here's something I will say though about, you know, this show. I think that um, it's worth noting, and apparently I'm looking at this now because I number one, they went late. They got 5 extra minutes from Turner from
Yeah,
Warner Brothers.
that's why we were a little late.
Right. Um, Sean Ross Sapp is saying that he just noticed that on the TV guide, Dynamite was slated to run 5 minutes.
Oh wow, they planned that out. Okay.
So that means that like the network, they didn't just like on a split second, like, hey, can we get 5 minutes? Like the network was like, take 5 minutes, have this
Yeah.
5 minutes.
The network gave him the old Orange Cassidy thumbs up, man.
Yeah, and that's a big deal for them. Like, you know what I mean?
It
Like
is
again, like
actually.
TV deals are coming. Um,
Listen, Warner's all in on AEW. No pun
mhm,
intended.
for sure.
All right, so what do we have listed for Rampage and Collision? Do they have anything put out there yet?
So Rampage, no, they didn't announce anything for Rampage again. I'm sure we're just gonna have to keep our eyes on the internet for the next day
I was gonna say I
or
don't even
so.
want to look out of fear of seeing spoilers. Last time I tried to find the card, I just saw spoilers and I was pissed.
Yeah, I don't see any spoilers, but I don't want to know any spoilers either. But so this coming Saturday on Collision, it's gonna be Jay White, Swerve Strickland, Luchasaurus, and Brian Cage versus CM Punk, Darby Allin, Sting, and a mystery partner, Samoa Joe and commentary. That's the All Star
Jesus,
8 Man.
what?
Yep. Yep. Big 8 man tag. And I'll say it again. Jay White, Swerve Strickland, Luchasaurus, Brian Cage versus CM Punk, Darby Allin, Sting, and a mystery.
Holy shit.
Coming up on Collision as well, trios match: Orange Cassidy, Penta El Zero Miedo, and Eddie Kingston versus The Butcher, The Blade, and Kip Sabian. Jack Perry is going to retire the FTW Championship. This was actually moved to Collision. It was supposed to be on Dynamite, but it was moved to Collision.
I just thought about that. It was, wasn't it?
Yeah, someone, I'm not gonna lie. So in the Alex Sanchez in the Discord, actually, he did spoil that it got filmed before Dynamite for Collision. I removed the comment and just reminded him no spoilers.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I knew that was gonna be on Collision. He said that. Um, Something comes of it as well. I don't know what.
It's all good.
Something is added to All In. That's all I'll say. Um, but yes, no spoiler. They also said for Fighter Fest on Saturday, the Stars, we'll hear from the Stars in London. And
Nice.
then announced for the main pay-per-view for All In, it is for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, MJF versus Adam Cole. For the AEW Women's World Championship, four-way dance, Saraya, Hikaru Shida, Toni Storm, Britt Baker. Chris Jericho versus Will Ospreay, CM Punk versus Samoa Joe for the Real World Championship. The Trios World Championship, House of Black versus the Acclaimed. FTR versus the Young Bucks for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. The Golden Elite versus Konosuke Takeshita, Jay White, and Juice Robinson. Stadium Stampede, which has now been turned into a 5-on-5. So I'm very curious as to who the 6 men were before Ray Fenix got cut. I'm very curious as to what that was. But I guess we'll never know. Coffin match, tag team coffin match, Sting and Darby Allin. Yeah, put the sign, Jeff. Put the sign up. Sting, Darby Allin versus Swerve Strickland and Christian Cage. And on the 0 hour, we have Aussie Open versus Adam Cole and MJF. I would assume we get some more matches added to the 0 hour. And like I said, I know that Collision's going to have at least one Collision. What is that? Two?
Yeah, I think we'll see
If I
Emi
look at,
Sakura because she
I think
posted a
so.
tweet saying "See you at Wembley," but
Well, she's always said that she's always wanted to do Wembley because Freddie Mercury's been a big an inspiration for her character
yeah,
before she did the whole Queen gimmick.
that'd be awesome if she came out in the full Queen thing with. Oh my God, could he get the song for? No, I don't know if he would do that, but maybe.
At this point, I think you would. Yeah, I think you would pay the money at this point.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. So speaking of All In, they've been asking in chat. I did. I think I answered in the chat, but we will say it here on the podcast. We will be doing a watch along on Sunday morning for the AEW All In at Wembley Stadium. That's going to be freaking awesome. Um, what time? What time do you think we're gonna start going live? What time do you think we should be live?
Well, the 0 hour starts at noon Eastern time. So,
Okay. We'll
I
probably
don't
go
know.
live
That's a
like
great.
5 minutes early, I guess. We'll do like a 11:55 Eastern US time.
Yeah, we could do like 10, 15 minutes, give people time to get in,
Yeah.
But so around there. So I would say like 11 in like the 11:30 to 11:45 range, we'll go live. We'll do our watch along.
Sounds
Um
good.
Still finalizing some plans. Might have some guests, but we'll see what happens.
I'm going to Hershey Park on Saturday. My work paid for it. That's cool.
Oh, nice. Look at that.
They just sent us an email like, "Who wants to go to Hershey Park?" And I was like, "Sure." And they're like, "Here's 2 tickets."
Mhm. That's funny. Have you
So
been
that's
to Hershey
sweet.
Park?
What's that?
Have you been?
I've never been.
Oh, dude, the whole fucking town smells like Hershey chocolate.
Oh,
It's
that's.
Make sure you go to the Hershey factory.
Oh,
They
I
do like a
will.
tour.
I'm gonna show up
And
fat
like
on Sunday.
no, you're gonna show up with a gift basket of Hershey's
Yeah.
chocolates. But no, Hershey's Park is really cool. It's been a few years since I've went. Have a good time because that's a really dope place to go.
Awesome. Thanks. Michael says he'll be at church. Oh man, we'll keep the Discord posted up a little bit, I guess. We'll post some stuff in there, but
Oh, you gotta skip church or catch the Saturday night show. You know
you
what I mean?
can you can
Saturday night.
sneak us on your phone. If you can have Discord open, you can have us open, man. It's all good. I don't know.
Right? Yeah, that's what
I
I'm
don't know about
saying.
that one, but
I look, man. You can get straight with the Lord any day you want. You don't need it to be on.
absolutely, I agree. All right, man. You got anything else you want to add to the show tonight?
Stadium Stampede's coming to AEW Fight Forever, like probably in like 30 minutes at midnight. So that's cool. Good for
Nice.
them. Probably check that out at some point. I'm optimistic that it'll be a fun mode. Um, in which case, if I do that and I do play it, maybe I'll update my review score for Fight Forever, which currently sits at a 4 out of 10. Um, so stay tuned to that on the Game Room podcast, which happens every Monday. Um, Trying to think if there was anything else. I feel like something else happened today, wrestling wise, that was worth talking about. For some reason,
Well,
I don't.
I know outside of wrestling, Curly's won the cheesesteak competition in Philly, #1, baby. Let's go. Out of 32 places in PA and New Jersey, we took first. Could not believe it, dude. It was absolutely insane. Yeah, I'll be bringing the cheesesteaks over on Sunday for sure.
Fuck yeah, and that's and Jeff, that's real competition. I saw this bracket. I saw the poll.
Yeah.
There
Shout
was
out to
some of the greatest.
Philadelphia Beautiful. I'd never heard of
There,
them.
there are some of the greatest cheesesteak establishments ever in this tournament that Curly's won. Like this was not a throwaway WWE style tournament where like you can clearly tell the winner from the get-go. Like there was a lot of great competition here
Yeah.
that Curly's had to overcome. So kudos to Curly's. I got like all my other faves were in this tournament as well. Like I was watching the
Yeah.
bracket with much anticipation. Curly's
And
was there, Steve's was there, John's Roast Pork was there. Like
yeah.
all the big boys were there.
And
So
this
Curly's
was
won.
on the Facebook
Big deal.
page Philadelphia Beautiful if anyone's interested to check it out. And shout out to our final opponent. I believe it was Lilo's. They did great. We were within 100 votes of each other. That was crazy. But they took out a good friend of ours, Jay's Steak and Hoagies. He's actually been a good friend of ours like for a long time, friends with Curly. I actually worked for Jay for like a year when I needed something to do, so that was kind of cool. But we were hoping to go up against them in the finals. I'm almost glad we didn't go up against them, but it is what it is. All right, man. I think that's going to do it for us. You want to go ahead and close us out?
All right. Well, this has been episode 167 of the Broken Tables podcast. Thank you to everyone hanging out with us here tonight. Thank you to the Coug. Thank you to Michael Duke. Thank you to Coach Nick, who said he will be back later. He'll be watching the show later. Coach, just so you know, All In's going to be great. So if you can't see that, then hopefully you can see these words that are currently floating above my head when Jeff hits the button to put them above my head. Regardless, thank you to everyone. Make sure you like the video, subscribe on your way out. Check out some of our other podcasts. We also have the Game Room podcast. If you like video games and pro wrestling, this is a spot you want to be in. We do the Game Room podcast every Monday, our AEW Dynamite reviews on Wednesdays, Rampage or Collision reviews on Saturdays. And this Sunday is the biggest show in professional wrestling history. Please come and make history with us. Be here on Sunday while we watch All In. And we laugh at all the people who said it wasn't going to be a good show. Because I will probably be saying that a lot on Sunday. I'm going to be pulling my hair out of like just the madness that is people not understanding how great this show is going to be. Make sure you subscribe to become a member. Get a nice little arcade cabinet badge next to your name. You can also use some really dope wrestling emojis. We got CM Punk, Adam Cole, The Acclaimed, and all of that stuff. Orange Cassidy as well, as you can see in the chat currently. Bam. Good stuff. He's Jeff.
How do we
I'm
not get
wrong.
our own cabinet? We own the channel. We don't get a cabinet? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I know. You're going to have to figure that out, Jeff. You're going to have to go through and see if you can make that work.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you guys very much for joining us. And as always, Top Guys out.
It's the biggest wrestling show.